Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief, where we invest with fighter pilot precision every day. Thank you so much for checking out today's show. We're going to talk about the absolute insanity that's going on with WallStreetBets and the Reddit movement and the continuation of the Merry Men, which is kind of used as the name for the Robinhood folks that are now on Reddit on this page called WallStreetBets. And they are blowing up stock twits with what they're going to buy to force some shorts to cover. And they're definitely forcing some short squeezes out there. It's a little bit insane. Gamestop is the one that's been in play. AMC is the one that's in play today, up well over 100% this morning, maybe even 200%. Well, even more than that. Looks like it might be up 300 to 400%. Anyhow, it's not going to stay there, but same thing happened in GameStop and going on. Express is also in play. In the chat window, you see we have Express as our number one long. If you want to take a shot at that, that's how we're going to do it. So I'll call your trade. I'm not doing it with my own money because this is not my game of trying to capitalize on a short squeeze, but it's worth following and learning from, and this in case this becomes a regular thing out there. And I've said short squeeze several times, so if you don't know what that is our question of the day. What is a short squeeze? So I will talk you through that. We will take a look at we'll take a look at FinViz for some of these firms and show you the short float that's out there and what's really going on kind of behind the scenes. So that's what we've got for today. Pretty excited to talk to you guys about that. If you're catching us on replay, thanks for subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you get notified as soon as this goes out in the morning. And if you want to join us live, it's $25 a month. We've got a chat window and a Q&A window for you to be able to ask your questions till your heart's content. And with that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome back, everyone. Standard disclaimer applies today. This financial education presentation. So you have to do your own due diligence for acting upon anything you hear this morning. And full disclaimer information is available at ototnow.com. All right, make sure you have your Q&A window set up, your chat window set up as well. Today, January 27th. So what's dominating the news cycle is not the middle of earnings and Microsoft and Boeing and the big names out there. It's Main Street versus Wall Street. Today, Main Street's winning. They have the past couple of days and a couple names. So some folks are scalping out some money here. So we're going to talk about that, right? So, for our mission objectives, we're going to grow our money, protect our money, live off our money. There are those two names we're going to look at, GMC and AMC, again, that have been play. They're calling it the Reddit rally. There is, again, forcing these names higher, which is kind of crazy. So we'll get into that. Also Express, as you can see in the chat, Express long. VXX is another potential long for today because the market is down over 1%. And when you think of, what is a short squeeze, which is what we're going to talk about during question of the day, but to get in front of that, again, a short squeeze is when you have to cover your short. Money has to come from somewhere. If you don't do it and you hit a margin call, your broker will do it for you. They just indiscriminately sell across your book. So if you're going to play the short game, you have to be ready to cover. And if you cover, that means you have to come up with some money. Either you're sending in fresh cash, which shorts don't generally have a bunch of cash sitting on hand, otherwise they'd be using it. And that means you have to sell some other things. So you have to sell some good names to cover your deal there. So to buy the stock back that you shorted. So anyhow, we'll get into that here in a minute. So our flow today, long, short, open, short, long, primarily focusing on this topic. We will look at the other stuff and around the world real quick. Pretty much everything is down here in the U.S. Headline review, make sure we do that. There's the two names we're going to talk about. We'll get into our short-term execution. Nothing really sets up within our criteria. So I may call the trade in these long names. I'd prefer to short. We'll get to that in a minute. In a minute. But again, shorts are the ones getting killed, but we'll see. I think they ultimately Wall Street beats Main Street, but we'll see. We'll get into the question of the day, and contingencies and the academic resources available on the website. All right, let's go ahead and go over to TD Ameritrade Think Pipes. Again, these are the big names that are spiking up. So we'll zoom out here in a minute, but while we have it up, I went to a 5-minute chart on all three, so you can kind of see a couple day look. So we're down here at 484 is where it closed. AMC up at 2185. So what's that? 400% up. We'll see when it opens. This one, Gamestop closed at 150, up at 300. That makes the math simple. 100% gain there on the day. And then you've got another one. You've got Express closed at $3, touched 9, back down to the 750. So we'll come back to those in a minute. All right. Keeping the bigger picture in mind and not being lured into the the names of the day that are being put forth on Reddit is the where we are with the market. Again, the market's overall continues higher. We were slightly in the red yesterday. We'll take a look at that, but we'll see what today holds for us. Zooming in on the 5-day, get SPY put in here, and again, SPY is the S&P 500, SPY. You can see that it's been kind of flat this week. Big sell-off this morning, so we're open and lower. It'll be interesting to see if this sell-off continues, or if again people buy the dip like they have been for a long time. The market has been trying to sell off and just won't happen. So a lot of good congestion here. That kind of leads me to believe that the market won't continue to sell off, but we shall see. So hopping in back to our chart, we'll come back to the day trading chart here in a minute. Okay. Going back to Google Chrome, let's take a look at the markets as a whole for today. There's the Dow S&P down over 1%. NASDAQ was down over 1%. No, not quite down 1%. Let's check out Europe. Yep, down big across the board there. And you know what? They're not getting short squeezed. So you think that the whole market is is headed south because of what's going on with Reddit. No, that's just a few names. It's a market of several thousand names. So zoom out a little bit and don't sweat what you're missing here. There's China and Japan up a little bit. Everybody else down. Here's our numbers from yesterday. Again, slightly in the red, but some of the bigger names were up. The book was up yesterday, even after everything was in the red. The 10-year down slightly. Fed meeting today. Not even going to get any news out of the Fed meeting. Oil down a little bit, gold and silver down a little bit, and Bitcoin down to about 30, so down another 6%. So kind of, I think the fast money of the world is flowing out of Bitcoin and into AMC, because movie theaters are the thing. That is sarcasm. Don't misread that. All right, let's take a look at the headlines here. This keeps zooming in on me, which I don't like. So get back out of that. Okay. So headlines for today. Get rid of this. All right, AMC quadruple. So 400 up as retail investor raid, hedge fund shorts. So you've got the war that's going on behind the scenes, right? Between the shorts and everybody else. GameStop up another 50%. I think if anything, Reddit's doing us a favor because they're forcing everybody to go, yeah, I guess this is a bubble. Because when you look at these names, they're laughably high. They shouldn't be there. They should be instant shorts. But you have some people out there propping them up. So anyhow, is it market manipulation? Absolutely, 100%. Is Main Street to blame? Is Robinhood to blame? No. Hedge fund managers do this all the time, so it's a little bit of a dose of their own medicine. You, as the long-term investor, don't even need to. You can turn this off if you want, other than being kind of fun to look at and follow along. Here's Elon Musk, who's got better things to do with his time than focus on this. He he tweeted out last night, kind of making fun of GameStop as well. So folks are throwing some fuel on the fire here. I don't think it really holds much weight. Here's a voice of reason. The Robinhood CEO says customers are buy and hold amid the trading frenzy. So if you want in on it, get in on it. Otherwise, just go back to what you do with your life and don't worry about what's going on here. Okay, Boeing missed. That's going to be bad, I think, for Boeing. I'm surprised it's not down more. That would be our short of the day based off of that alone. But again, it's hardly selling off. So we'll come back to that. Microsoft beat earnings, so that's good for American tech, just like every other tech firm out there, it seems. That's interesting. Now, of course, the Robinhood CEO would be vested in saying this, but becoming an investor is the new American dream, like home ownership was before. I've been squawking about if you're dumping money into your home, you're just delaying your path to being a millionaire or multimillionaire or wherever you happen to be along this ride. But yeah, that's kind of funny, the new American dream, especially since you can instantly become an investor. But yeah, it's, everybody's doing it right. So that's good. Okay, let's move on to some of these FinBiz holdings. So let's look at GameStop first, because this is kind of crazy. So when you see a chart like this isn't a void. If you're a professional trader, you love this stuff. If you're thinking about cutting your teeth into trading, like I'm going to wake up this morning, do some stretches, and learn how to trade, this is not for you. Generally, folks like that end up getting smoked, to be honest. But look at the the short float, which is how many of the shares that are out there being publicly traded. 140% of the publicly traded shares are short. Okay, so that means more. If there's the short float is what, 50 million shares, excuse me, the outstanding shares are 65 million. I can't make that math work just by looking at it, but basically if you think all these shares that are out there float, even more than that are short, which is kind of crazy. Maybe this number hasn't caught up to those two. It looks more like about 85% to me, but anyhow, a large number. But look at these returns. Let's see, performance for the week, 275, month 620. Do you think this has more upside when it's gone up 3,600%? No, it doesn't have upside. These are things to stay clear of. Names are popping in the room here. So for the latecomers, just talking about GameStop here and the craziness that's been going on with Reddit. The page is WallStreetBets if you want to follow along and check it out. But anyhow, this is what's going on in GameStop. So as a trader, you love this. As a professional investor, you just avoid it. Look for AMC is the one that's in play today, up 400% this morning. Going from popping up. This shows $5. It's actually at $20 right now because this is yesterday's number. So again, think of where it would be on this chart. It would be way up here. It'd be untouchable, right? So you just want to steer clear of that. 37% short. All right, the next one is Express, which if you want to go long on one of these, you can today. I was going to say another thing that ran the high short position in Tesla, also ran Tesla stock up to the moon, and it stayed there. So, it went from 100 back in April all the way up to 800. It has a split in there. But again, it was largely short covering that drove this stock higher. And then the last one we'll look at is Express, EXPR. And again, that's what you're seeing. This one's coming back. This one right now is at 750. So again, about 100% going into today's open. So kind of crazy of what's going on there. How will it end? I don't know. They can't go up forever, obviously, but certainly they're causing some pains. People say the hedge funds are going out of business. If that's true, they obviously didn't mitigate their risk appropriately. So, if you can't handle risk, you don't get to be in the hedge fund business. All right, let's switch over to Schwab.com. We're going to take a look at just a couple names here real quick. Outside of the craziness that has been going on in the Reddit rally gang, let's look at VXX long. So if you think the market's going to continue to sell off today, previous close 1720 up to 17.8, a couple million shares. So that is the long thesis for today. If you think the market's going to continue to sell off, and then the next one is Teladoc. little light on volume, or at least was earlier. Yeah. Was up here at 286 and now down to 272. There's no news out on this name, but it is gapping down 4.97%, or almost 5% there. So it does fit our model for selling off. That is it as far as the names in the news. So a little bit light as far, you would think a day like today would bring a bunch of names out, and that just hasn't really happened. All right, let's go over to TD Ameritrade. And there we go. There's our screen. We got a minute to the open. Give me a second to get all set up here. Welcome everyone to the On Time On Target play of the day. We have 30 seconds to the market open. A little bit different today, and I don't anticipate actually taking the trade myself, but I'm probably going to call one of these an express. We shall see. And if nothing else, we'll watch for entertainment value. But 4 panels in front of you. The SPY is on a 1-minute chart on the left. The other 3 are on 5-minute charts. I'm going to zoom those into 1-minute charts after it opens here. But I wanted you to see the history going in, because that's important. Okay, there's the opening bell. So again, these are all part of the Reddit WallStreetBets, under being targeted by those investors that are trying to force these stocks higher. As an investor, all of these 3 are clear shorts. However, and I would expect all of them to sell off like unbelievably hard if they were trading off of fundamentals. AMC is a movie theater in the middle of a pandemic, albeit they just got a $900 million lifeline, but they're on the edge of a bankruptcy the other day. I mean, look at this, popping 284%. I do think it sells off hard. If it were following the fundamentals, it would go right back to around 10. So, already down from 26 to 19. Gamestop obviously is a left for dead company as well. It's the modern day Blockbuster, and you'd have to be old enough to remember Blockbuster, but Blockbuster openly laughed at Netflix for a long time and then doesn't exist anymore. I don't think GameStop is around. If they are, they have to go to almost a completely online model to even survive. Express is a retailer, mall-based retailer, again, in trouble with the pandemic, and they were a little bit out of fashion anyway. So you have no real reason to buy that stock, and absolutely zero reason that it's up 130%. So that's where we are in these names. When you really look about, hey, if you're like, call me up and say, hey, Steve, buy some of this for me in the morning. Well, even if you buy it at the open, you have to get on the stuff pre-market. You're not gonna. I mean, just look how it acted at the open. It opened at 20, down to, just call it 17. That's math in the morning. 15% that it's fallen since the open. So if you reverse engineer, that's what it's up, because the numbers are smaller. But anyhow, look at the selling in these names. Again, this one opened at 355, down at 300. You can't short into this. 8 down to 7. If anything, we would take this back long. Express appears to be stopped out, because it is not trading right now. So, and that can happen. GameStop was stopped out a few times yesterday. Read an article on that. I was not watching it real time. All right, we can come back to the AMC. Let's take a look at our long, the VXX. So heart of the envelope, that 5%. If you think this is going to continue in the market with the sell-off, then if this is going to end up being a 2 or 3% down day, you simply just want to take the VIX here. Yeah, that didn't work. Take it at current levels and then hold it. I'm not gonna do this myself, and it's not gonna let me even draw anyway. But basically, you take it with an 18 cent. You'd want about a 20-cent stop. So draw it down here at 18, and then just take it long. But VIX is notorious for flipping around. So look at the movement right there, just based off of the selling off for the first 3 minutes. Now you bounce here. Market's really not down all that significant, but tough to trade. Normally you'd have a 20-cent stop on an $18 equity, you might want to give yourself out to like a 50-cent stop on trading the VXX. All right, let's look at our other one. We had Teladoc short. Actually, yeah, Teladoc short. So drop down 5%. Looks like some strength is showing back up in this name. So kind of crazy. There goes the market back down. We'll see if it continues to roll over, but we'll put AMC back in here. So there you go. All right. The let's see. Let's go over to see what's going on in the real world and see what's up. Okay, obviously with the market down 8%, you can kind of see the action here on the 5-day chart. Names that are up: Sirius FM, that is, Moderna, Abbott Labs. There's the psychedelic name, I believe. Microsoft, after beating, is barely up. That could end up in the red today. And a few other names are in the green. If you do have a large position in FIXD, again, that's our de-risking position. Taking risk off, that goes up. If you think of, when markets drop down, money flows out of equities into bonds, and that's a bond position. So that's why you see that up fractionally. It doesn't move a whole lot day to day, but it does move a little bit there. All right. Let's go to the short side. All right, ClickSteam off 10%, AMD off of 8%. You don't see any other names in here because I don't have them. As far as, the GameStops, AMCs, expressing that stuff. Luckin down 8%. Let's pull that Luckin chart while we have a few seconds here. So again, went up to 13 yesterday. So from this is kind of the good old-fashioned investing of a good company at a good price and watch it go up. So earlier in the week, it was at 950 all the way up to 13 yesterday. That's unsustainable to move that fast. So it's going to find itself somewhere between 1250 and probably all the way down to 11. I was talking to somebody yesterday. I'd be happy as long as it holds 10. I mean, 10 was from 2 days ago. So as long as it stays in this range in here, I don't really care. I think it will rebuild a base somewhere in here and then go higher. If it does come all the way down to 10, I'll actually buy more. I did sell some into this yesterday, 25% of my holding to take some profits there. All right, what else is selling off hard? Shopify, that's a big name selling off hard. Clean energy, laser, Bitcoin selling off. Again, the only reason I think Bitcoin's selling off in all of this is because of the money. That's fast money, right? Looking to make a, trade and make quick bucks as the army of the anti-establishment folks. Well, I think a lot of those folks have found Reddit and WallStreetBets now. So that's going to be the latest craze for a while. We shall see. All right. Where is Apple in all of this? So Apple's down 0.67, so really not a big deal. As far as your main names out there. Boeing down 3%. That's actually pretty good based off of the earnings whiff they had. And I'm looking for Amazon. Amazon's down 1%. So the big long-term names not really all that affected from today and the craziness that's going on. All right, one last look at this. So anybody who thought it was a good idea to hop in here at $20 at the open has lost 25% of their money, that sort of thing. So anyhow, play these games if you want. I would not recommend it. All right, let's go back to the main screen for the short squeeze and let you guys go for the day. Okay, let's see what it says here. Short squeeze occurs when a stock or other asset jumps sharply higher, forcing traders who've made a bet against this. Again, that is your short folks that are out there. As they scramble to buy, only adds upward pressure. So what takes a stock higher? Well, when people are buying it, that's one thing. That's the normal thing. But if you are having to cover a short, meaning you've bet opposite the name, again, as it goes higher, that means you're losing money in that name. Well, when you short something, you have to borrow those shares and sell them. Well, to cover your short, you have to buy those shares back on the open market and then give them back to whoever you borrowed from, which is your broker. So again, the brokers don't care whether you're short all the time. They don't care if you're long or short. They don't care what's going on in AMC, Gamestop, or Express. If you want to borrow these shares, they simply say, okay, and they loan them to you. And stock may go up or down, and then you owe them the shares back. The difference is the brokerage is getting 7% on that money, or on the monetary equivalent of those shares, when they have them on loan for you. So if you're going to hold a long-term short, you have to pay the broker for the privilege of borrowing those shares. So that's a fee. And if it pays the dividend, you have to actually pay the dividend out to the shareholders. So, careful how short you go, especially in a name that has a dividend out there. So let's see what else. Short squeeze accelerates a stock price rise. So again, instead of the normal one force going higher of people buying the stock, the second force going higher would be people having to cover their shorts. So that's why you see it go up. It does work that way to the downside. When people are selling a stock and then people are shorting it, people are borrowing that stock from the broker and selling. So you do see that to the downside as well. Our trading strategy is based almost entirely off of that, right? People are getting in and shorting. Well, there's people selling the name, and there's other people turning around taking it short. So again, it's what we're doing at the market open on a daily basis when we can find one that qualifies. But that is what's going on out there. All right, let's see what else they have here for understanding it. So what's a margin, kind of adding a margin call here. So say you have a big short position and that starts working against you, your account value drops. So if you haven't shorted before, just like a day-to-day, if the market goes up, your account value goes up. This is if you're long. If the market goes down, the account value goes down. So this is opposite to where if you're short, if the market is on its way up, your portfolio is going down. Well, as your portfolio goes down, the amount of money that you have borrowed stays the same, right? So if you borrow 50,000 and your account is at 100,000, well, you're on a 50% margin. If during the day, though, you're getting schooled and the drops from 100,000 to 75,000, well, just realize your $50,000 loan you have is now 66.6% of your portfolio. So when you hit these triggers, there's a couple different types of margin calls. You can hit a soft call or a hard margin call. Soft call is they simply send you an email going, hey, you're exceeding your tolerances here. You need to fix it. You think it's either 2 or 3 days. I can't remember. I've hit this before. I've had clients hit it. It's not a big deal. You've got time to fix it. A hard margin call means you have until, I believe it's 2 p.m. Eastern to fix it. Otherwise, you're going to have some stuff liquidated out of your portfolio, meaning they can hop into your portfolio, sell whatever they want, and free up that cash, so you get out of that margin range. So again, I've never faced that personally. I don't even know of anybody who's faced that. But hedge funds, when you see them going sideways and then all of a sudden they're bankrupt, it's because of a margin call. And there's actually a good movie called Margin Call from back in the day, 2008 or so, that goes into that pretty good. So, and it's entertaining. Risks of trading short squeezes. Yes. You're seeing one there in AMC, up at 25, now it's down to 17. Things are moving 100% in a day. That's a risk, obviously. So don't get on the wrong side of that trade. So, all right, a little bit of a crazy day in the market. We will see how it turns out. Market's down 1.5%, almost 2% in the S&P. So some selling today. So don't forget, zoom out, think of all the money we've made. Don't turn around, just fire sale all your stuff just because we're off a little bit today. If anything, things are getting cheaper for doing some buying. So I'm not really going to buy in today. I'd like to see 2 or 3 more days of this type of selling before hopping in, but not a big deal. It's raining in paradise. So with that, I'll let you guys go. You guys have a good one.